Welcome back to TarHeelIllustrated.com. We've got you covered today with another daily drop. I am Bryant Balcom here with publisher Andrew Jones. We're looking to have a little bit of fun today with this UNC basketball-related daily drop. We're going to discuss some potential fun home-and-home opponents for UNC basketball. Now, of course, they traveled to Allen Fieldhouse this past year. Now, they have some pretty interesting and fun home-and-homes in the past with the likes of Kentucky. But we're looking at some fun stuff. And AJ, I want you to give me some three quick ones of what you think would be some good opponents that would help UNC's schedule. Not some earth-shattering teams or these big programs, some solid programs that would be a cool place for UNC to visit and also host in Chapel Hill.
Okay, you said quick. That it's impossible for me. But you mentioned Kentucky as well. They had a home and home with Tennessee. They've actually done a lot of really cool home and homes. I'm not going to go back in time on that. I'm going to march forward. So I'll try to be quick. What Brian just said, what we're trying to do here is it would be easy to say, oh, home and home with UConn, home and home with Arizona, keep playing Kansas, get Kentucky involved, Michigan State, let's do it. Let's go to East Lansing. We're going to have, it's a little bit of a different conversation. It's the mid-level stuff, the really helpful games that can help your resume, not going to kill you if you lose, but help you some, and games that are interesting and are good for your team. I'll throw out there one, let's choose one from each of the four power conferences. So instead of three, let's do four. Or five power. There's five power conferences in basketball, four in football. For the Big East, I'd love to see them play Creighton. What a cool series that is. Creighton plays in front of 18,000 people. It's packed all the time. Great basketball town. Love to see them play Creighton home and home. In the Big Ten, Iowa. I went out to Iowa a few years ago, covered them there when Luka Garza and Bohannon and Nosti and McCaffrey's kids were on the team. That was a really, really good team, but it was the COVID year. There were no fans in the stands. There were girlfriends and families and a couple of professors. There were like 80 people kind of scattered over in a corner. That was it. Nobody else was in the building. I would like to go back and cover a game of Carver Hawkeye when it's full. I've heard it's one of the loudest places in the country. That'd be a cool home and home for Carolina to play. They did do that in the late 80s, I believe. They played home and home with Iowa. In the SEC, I would love to see them play someone like Missouri. A home and home in Missouri would be really cool. Again, another club that used to be a really good program back in the 80s and 90s has been kind of iffy. They had a good team this past year. And then in the Big 12, I've always wanted to cover a game in Iowa State, but Iowa State's been really good of late. So let's do Kansas State. How about Kansas State? Why not? I'll go Iowa State too, but Kansas State I think would be really cool. Play at home and home with Kansas State. Apparently it's really hard to get to. So you got to fly into somewhere and then drive or walk or hitchhike or whatever. It's hard to get to. It's maybe the hardest power conference campus to get to. It's so remote. So Penn State's pretty much like that too. I think that would be those would be home and homes I would throw out to you right now. What are yours?
Well, I do agree. I think the one I agree with the most of yours would be Creighton. That's UNC fans probably would love to welcome back Greg McDermott to Chapel Hill. We're not welcome back.
I never even thought about that.
Yeah. After 2012, that's probably a team they would love to play and hope that they win by 50 against. But I think that would be an enticing one, especially when you look at that angle. I'll spare any more comments. People don't have too many.
It would be Kendall Marshall jersey night. So they give away Kendall Marshall T-shirts or Kendall Marshall casts.
Or wrist. Wow. I
guess they'd have to welcome Kendall back to Chapel Hill for that one. Sorry. You go. Zip it and throw it.
And another one, I'll go to the Big East this time. You actually mentioned it before we had talked previously. St. John's, I know you can look at how they've been playing, but before Pitino arrived, it was not a particularly great team, but would love for Rick Pitino to visit Chapel Hill and just would love to see a UNC team go up to New Jersey or New York. New York. That's one I'll be really interested in. As far as the SEC goes, probably not the strongest opponent, but just with the kind of rivalry between the two states, have South Carolina come to Chapel Hill and UNC go down to Columbia. I know South Carolina's, this past season was not its strongest, but would love to see that kind of interstate rivalry into play and see kind of just, battle for seniority or superiority. The Big Ten, and that one's tough. You could easily go a place like Purdue, Mackey, or you could go to Assembly Hall in Bloomington. But a place that I really would like for UNC to go, a program who's actually never won an NCAA tournament game, I would love to see them take a trip to Lincoln, Nebraska. It seems really random, but I just love the Nebraska fan base. They're especially in football, but for a school that's never won an NCAA tournament game, they would make that an absolutely insane environment for UNC to play in. Whether their team whether it's a good season for the Cornhuskers or not, it would be a fun environment. Who's left?
I like that. You got it.
I missed the Big 12. That one's a little bit tougher for me. I know we mentioned Iowa. I agree with Iowa State. Now I know this is a better team, but I would like UNC to go visit Baylor in that new arena. It looks funky camera angle, but I would like to see UNC play at Baylor just because I'm a big Scott Drew fan. I think it'll be fun for Baylor to come to Chapel Hill, a program UNC doesn't have any qualms with, but would just be a good basketball game for the Tar Heels.
Okay, let's throw a couple more curves out there. Let's go to the old Pac-12. Let's have a home. Let's schedule a home and home for Carolina with a team from the old Pac-12. I would go Oregon.
That was a good. Well,
first of all, I would go Oregon, but on second thought, I'd have to look at that court.
Yep, I was going there next.
I might get sick. So, wow, I'm gonna stay with Oregon on that one. I think that'd be really cool. Do Oregon. And then you tell me what you're going to do, then I'm going to throw another one at you because I'm inventing new topics, parts of the topic here as we go on.
So this would be a very far place to get to, but I would and this is just from personal preference, love for UNC to make the trip either to Tempe to face Arizona State with their route, like crazy student section, or a game against Washington. There's something about playing in Seattle, just a personal preference that I think would be fun to watch UNC go and play.
Do you know what happened the last time Carolina played a basketball game in Seattle?
I do not.
Weber State, Harold the Show Arsenault.
On second thought, maybe UNC fans.
Now they do. They were in the state of Washington because I covered them at Gonzaga several years ago. That was pretty cool. Okay, let's go upper mid-major, home and home. I'm going to go Dayton. I love that place. Dayton. Upper mid-major. We're totally changing the script here. We're going to keep doing some of this. So I'm going Dayton, home and home.
Oh,
they played Dayton at home about 15 years ago. Dayton was struggling at that time. But they're usually pretty good.
Oh.
You could do Atlantic 10. You could do Missouri Valley, Upper Missouri Valley. You can do Mountain West. Would be great. I mean, I'd love to go see him. I think that would be cool. New Mexico?
Yes, New Mexico in the Pit.
That would be cool. I would. You know what? I like that too. I'm going to change mine and go New Mexico.
I think that would be – see if any of the UNC players could get that basketball all the way up the ramp. Unlikely, but we'll see.
They have that ramp at the media ramp at Dayton too, which is very steep.
I do have another suggestion. This is more of
go ahead because I got a few more.
I would like to see them play against UPenn.
University of Pennsylvania
at the Palestra in Penn
they played them at the Palestra. They played them back about Hansbrough played there. That group played at the Palestra against Penn. They played them there. That would be pretty cool. Or play St. Joe's in their little barn. With
that would be a good one.
Doing that the whole time. That'd be kind of neat. I think if you're looking, let's go Missouri Valley or let's go AAC. I think at Wichita State would be cool. They got a great fan base. They have an arena that's a lot like UVA's old arena. They've been really good at times in history. I think that would be a game that would be really embraced. I for some reason, I'm finding myself in Kansas a lot in a lot of these picks here. I think Wichita State from that league would be cool.
Yeah, I guess I could go East Carolina, but that seems like a cop-out.
No, that's great. Minji's Coliseum? Are you kidding?
It's because I mean, where East Carolina
run out of the tunnel onto the court there. That would be that would be a phenomenal moment. It'd be a great atmosphere. That would be one liquored up atmosphere too. That would be boozed up. That's a good one. Are you going to stick with that, or are you going to go another one?
Yeah, I'm going to stick with that. I almost went,
that.
and it's not the AAC, but I almost went to the Sun Belt because I watched Auburn play at App State, and I thought about how that would be
They played at App State.
Another, especially this day and age, would be a fun atmosphere because that was a solid App State team, to be fair.
They played at App State around the time they opened up that arena. So if you want to go Sun Belt, I would like to see them play at Troy. They have a pretty cool arena. And I think that'd be kind of neat to go down there and play. Let's go. We're just going to roll along here. Let's do Missouri Valley. They played at Northern Iowa when they were number one in the country. It was the Marcus Page game, but he was injured and didn't play. They lost. They played. I'm trying to think of who else. I think Illinois State would be cool. They got a really nice arena. Doug Collins Court. I've been inside that arena at Illinois State. It's really nice. It's an ACC arena. And I think that would be cool. Play at Illinois State again. The Redbirds used to be good back in the 80s and 90s.
I mean, I could go with Drake, but that seems like also
Indiana State too. I've been there. I'm in the arena. I've been to the arena. I've been inside, and the Larry Bird statue out front is worth it.
Bradley.
Bradley's cool too. They used to be really good back in the 80s and 90s. Hersey Hawkins, Jim Les. That's back when I was just watching every team play, man. I'd watch Pepperdine play back then.
And I think an underrated one would be an old Missouri Valley member in Loyola Chicago. I know they're in the Atlantic 10 now, but that would have been looking back, that's probably my pick in the Atlantic 10. Anyway,
mine would be Richmond.
Oh,
they've got a really good arena too. It's kind of a lesser version of Little John in some ways. They did play there in a tournament or something a long time ago, but I think Richmond would be really cool. Kind of a short drive for a lot of Carolina fans, or a lot of Carolina fans in that area. Let's go West Coast Conference. I would love to see them play at St. Mary's. Now, we're not doing –
that would be my first.
We were doing mid-level for the power leagues, but for these leagues, we can do the better ones. I would love to see them run out on the court at St. Mary's.
So we're of course no Gonzaga or now St. Mary's.
They've already done Gonzaga, and it didn't go well.
Yeah, certainly. The San Francisco, like historic program, obviously were successful decades ago, but I just enjoy watching a game when they're playing at home. If certainly a late night game, I'd watch any West Coast Conference game, or Pepperdine, just for the simple fact that is a beautiful area.
Yes, it is.
In Malibu. So I don't think you would complain having to maybe a day by the beach if you could get away.
I've been there before. If they play San Francisco, how about San Francisco would have to wear the Bill Russell uniforms and Carolina would have to wear the Lenny Rosenbluth uniforms?
Well, it certainly wouldn't be the worst uniform combos UNC played in recently. So the ones against Duke in 2020, still some rough ones, but that would be a good little caveat to that.
Let's do a couple more. What decent sized conferences have we missed so far? We could do the CAA. It's not the same old CAA. They played at UNCW a few years ago. They played at Charleston. They were supposed to play at Monmouth. I'd like to go back and do the King Rice game. That would be fine.
Yeah, that one.
William and Mary has been playing in a decent arena for a long time. They used to host Virginia every once in a while, and they would sell it out. And they had some crazy, crazy students back then and fans. I think going up to William and Mary, who was coached for a long time by one of Dean's former assistants, Terry Truow, was their coach for a long time at William and Mary. I think that would be kind of a neat game if you're going to go CAA. And we're probably losing people now because we're talking this level.
That probably would have been my pick for the CAA because, I mean, now they already played against home and on with Elon. I guess that was in 2018.
I'm going to go back to the A10 real fast, or the Hubert Davis Invitational homecoming game at George Mason. George Mason arena is right down the road from Lake Braddock High School. It's like 8 minutes away. Not even 8 minutes. How about that one? Okay, we're going to do one more. Yep. Some crazy off the wall.
Oh,
I want to see them play at Montana in football and basketball. They won't do it in football, obviously, but that would be cool at Montana.
Now I'm trying to think of.
They got a nice arena.
If I want to go way far away or somewhere that would just be cool.
Somewhere totally off the wall.
Let them play at Alaska Anchorage. Why not? Why not? They had the Great Alaskan Shootout. Go ahead and do it again. Why not?
Well, I think bring back the Great Alaska Shootout.
I agree.
I actually think now, since we're just really just going down a rabbit hole, there needs to be these MTEs, multi-team events in Canada. Halifax, Nova Scotia should have one. They like basketball there. Toronto. How come there are no tournaments in Toronto? I spent almost a year in Toronto. They follow American college sports. One of my buddies who's Canadian, whenever I went, like I was at the Final Four a few years ago, he's like liking all my stuff on Facebook. He's DMing me about it and stuff. So they like American sports up there. So I think there should be more tournaments in Canada. I have one in Calgary, the Stampede Invitational, something like that. That'd be cool. But it's too cold. Everyone wants to go where it's warm.
AGA wants royalties when that happens in the future. Just remember, you heard it here first at THI.
I'm not getting royalties for anything. Hell, I barely get it with rivals. So, all right, is that good? We're good.
Yeah.
I think we
covered it. Let us know what you think.
Out.
There's definitely some arenas, whether it's just like or the arenas, team, cities that we are forgetting. So please drop a comment. Let us know where you want to see UNC play. And give us a list. Give us whether it's one place or you can go back conference. We want to hear from you guys. Let us know what we missed, what you think we got right. Give us some feedback. We love to hear from you guys. But for now, I am Bryant. He's AJ, and we will see you guys next time over at THI.
Thanks.